Welcome everyone to Social Cafe Hangout for Tuesday. What is this? The 26th of August. I can't believe that we're already so far into 2014. Welcome, Gail.
Hi, how are you doing?
These random thoughts that come to me as I'm supposed to be saying the welcome, and it's like, wow, we're like 3/4 of the way through the year.
I know. We wouldn't notice except that it's almost 100 degrees now, which is
Yeah,
better.
that's true.
Not as hot as it usually is.
What is it supposed to be at this time? Now, see, New York is new to me, so I have no idea what the norm is. But what's it
Okay.
supposed to be at this time of the year where you're at, or is this pretty
Where
normal?
I am, over 100 for weeks at a time is common. But this year, I don't think we've had a single over 100-degree day, which I was thankful for while the AC was broken for 2 days. So John Cabot asked, Social Cafe, do you mean advertising links that promote your products, paid impressions? Guess I'll find out.
Oh, I love that. Guess I'll find out on the. Well, let's see. Let's port it back and say, what would you like it to be? No. Social advertising is a very broad topic, and intentionally, I actually have to give credit to Da Vinci because she picked the topic. Thank you, Da Vinci. And very broad topic so that we could branch off in different directions, whether that's pay-per-click, the PPC, whether it's Facebook advertising, Twitter advertising, advertising on the different social media platforms. That's mainly what we were thinking, but that doesn't mean that we have to restrict ourselves only to that topic. So let's see, what did he have on the list?
So I answered him and I said, social advertising is a really broad topic. Do you have a special interest?
Good one.
Okay, and so she's posted question number 1. Do you use social advertising? And if so, what have you tried? So I want to provide some insight into the one thing that surprised me. Well, I shouldn't have, but it did. I talked to an expert on Facebook advertising. That's all his agency does is tons of Facebook advertising for big brands.
That's all? I mean, like not PPC, but literally Facebook advertising.
Like their specialty is just Facebook advertising. And another agency I know who does PPC, but they're spending most of their time on Facebook advertising. And the tip that he gave me was, when you run an ad on Facebook, you should always have a face in the ad. People like to see people on Facebook. That's what it's famous for. That's what people like. And so whenever you run an ad, like I was running ads about remodeling houses, so I had a house in the ad, and he said, what's wrong with you? Put people in the ad. I went, oh.
Put a person in front of the house.
Right. Well, actually, you don't have a lot of space usually for your image, so he actually uses faces. And then someone else that did something I thought was really brilliant, of course everything he does is brilliant, you know, Gary V, at Gary Vaynerchuk. So he was promoting his book, and on the book he had famous people who had endorsed it, like all books have little snippets on the cover.
Yep.
And so he would target the people that followed them. So like if you were a fan of Seth Godin, he used a picture of Seth Godin in the promo for the book.
Oh my goodness, that is so brilliant.
Yeah, and he targeted the people that were fans of Seth Godin, so that would obviously convert really well. And so that's the most brilliant time I've ever seen it. Use faces people recognize, use smiling faces. Another tip, which isn't necessarily just about social advertising, the face should be facing what you want them to look at. Or even pointing at what you want it to look at. So if you're looking, if you have an image, you don't want the image staring off into space. You want the person looking at the thing you're wanting them to pay attention to, because people look at eyes and then follow them to where they were looking.
So they shouldn't look stoned, and they shouldn't look half asleep or like they need their morning coffee. They should really look excited about whatever it is that they're looking at.
Right, yeah. So they should be looking at the area of the page, that ad, or this is also relevant on your website. You want the face looking at what you want them to pay attention to.
That makes sense.
You know, it says, good luck on Facebook. What did you pay for? Did it work? So I will tell him that Facebook is scary, all right? A pay-per-click, I used to do pay-per-click 5.5 years straight. That's all I did was mostly AdWords and other pay-per-click. And I decided it was too risky, and I didn't want to do it anymore because small businesses couldn't afford the level of risk that I saw. It was getting worse and worse. And by the way, they just announced there's no more exact match on AdWords, so it's really worse. Because that's what you could do to kind of cover yourself, was just do exact match with a ton of negatives. Now you don't have exact match anymore, so that's scary.
I did hear about that. It's
Yeah,
like
that's
AdWords. Do we still use AdWords?
yeah, that's bad. So my tip for people using AdWords is look into Bing ads and LookSmart ads. LookSmart has really low traffic but super high ROI because it costs less, and so if your AdWords is too scary for you, try LookSmart, try Bing. Facebook. Now let's talk about Facebook. Facebook, I have a really good post on social implications, and it's called socialimplications.com/Facebook-extortion. There is a similar post on growmap.com/Facebook-extortion.
Do you want to tweet that out for anyone that's following Social Cafe?
Yeah, put it in the Twitter chat, you mean?
Yes, please.
Yes, and so yes, they should be very aware that Facebook ads have issues. Let's put it that way. And I'm going to type this in real quick, growmap.com, Facebook extortion. You notice how I titled it, which probably annoyed some people, but it's how I feel about it. What they did was, there's a really great video in this post, in one of these posts. And that video explained how somebody checked into what happened when they actually paid to get followers. They paid Facebook. They didn't pay like some third party who knows who. They paid on Facebook to promote their page, and all the people they got were offshore in specific countries and had no interaction. And so you don't want to pay to get more likes from people who don't interact, because that tells Facebook nobody cares about your stuff, and then they don't show it to the people who do care. And
Right.
so never do that. Your Facebook people, you want them to be very targeted. You want them to interact with you. You want to train them that they can go and tell Facebook to always show their stuff. You know about that setting? There's a little box you can click that I say, I really like Tropical Traditions or Eden Foods or Dr. Bronner's, so I'm going to check that box so that whatever they post, I get to see it.
That's a good point as far as training. To tell
What?
people, like, it's like going for the asking the question to say, hey, go do this. You really like us, support us, do this, and actually training
Right.
people how to do that.
Yeah, you actually put that in your post periodically. Hey, if you want to make sure you see all of our special deals, or you want to make sure you see all the cool stuff we share, go find the box and check it. You can also make a list on Facebook now. So like I made a list of all my favorite brands so that if I decide I want to shop, I can click on that and go see what specials they're running.
Oh, that's a good idea. I did jazz singers, but that's...
Well, yeah, you can make a list of anything. So jazz singers, social networks, whatever it is that you want to really see. You want to see everything that Seth Godin never says, you can check the box. And so you should do that.
I thought you said what he never says. I'm like, that would be a little tricky. How would you... what he never says versus what he ever says.
Yeah, it's all tricky. Like I said, Facebook, I will tell you this. In the big brand world, Facebook is it. That's what they really care about right now. If you're a blogger, you want to grow your Facebook, which do as I say, not as I do, because Facebook's really not my thing and I don't do it very well. But you want to focus. If you want to be a blogger who's paid to do sponsored content, you need to grow your Facebook following really big. But I don't believe in paying for followers. If you're a big brand, you got lots of money, pay for likes, okay? But if you're a small person, don't pay for likes. Grow it, interact with people, then they'll follow you. Same way we do it on Twitter. Follow people, they follow you back. And so John, I don't know if John's listening to us here, but I have tested a few times. I was not impressed. It was really hard to get the percentage up. The way Facebook ads work is you have to get a certain amount of interaction with the ad, or it kind of slows down and then stops. I was not good at getting it up there because most people aren't going to interact with ads, right? I mean, that's the point. But
now, what about promoted posts? Have you tried that? It looks like a lot of the people in the chat are saying that promoted posts are working really well for them versus the Facebook ads.
Are they now? Yeah, I think it depends on who you have following you and what your posts are about, whether that would work or not. But yeah, I think that could work. But the problem with Facebook is that you get a lot of interaction. You need to look at the analytics and see where that interaction is coming from. Because if all that interaction is coming from India, you're wasting your money unless you're selling stuff in India. Okay. If your target audience is specifically American, the good thing about Facebook ads is that you can make them very, very targeted. So
Mhm.
you need to think outside the box. You could say, okay, I only want to show this ad to people who are within this age range, who have children, who are in this location, or who are interested in this particular thing. You can make it pretty targeted. For the things you can target tightly, if you don't run into a lot of the fraud of a bunch of people that aren't really people, you
Mhm.
could get a good ROI on Facebook. But if you don't target it well, it's really hard to make money. All ad buys require testing. You have to find out if you're getting an ROI, and if you're not, stop.
And definitely put a limit on there. Like, for example, when I was testing, I put a limit of no more than $1 a day, so that I knew that that test, if I forgot about it, which God forbid I forget that I'm running a test ad, but if I did, then after 30 days, I'm only spending $30 versus not putting a limit. Like, oh my goodness, got $300 on this test that didn't go well.
No, definitely always have a limit. You know, always be testing. The right way to do ads is you create a dozen or so images. If it's an image ad, you want to do about a dozen of them, and then you want to test those with a small budget and see which ones are getting interaction. Get rid of the ones that get no interaction, and then tweak the ones that get interaction. Try different wording, try different, whatever. And then you get the ones that work really well. Then you run those, but again, with a limit. And, the main thing that I want to throw out, because we have so many bloggers that listen to us, something you need to understand is that you have to have something to sell. If you don't have something to sell and you spend money to promote your blog, you're not going to make money, right? Unless you're selling services, products, affiliate marketing, you got to be selling something. Did I lose you, Deb?
I'm here somewhere. No.
Okay.
I didn't want to, blow my nose on camera or anything like that. No, I fully agree with you. I was listening and I was here, and I was with everyone in spirit. I just didn't want to blow my nose in public. So.
All right. So I need the link. Is there a link to where they can see the Hangout in case they aren't?
Yes, I tweeted that, and I'm going to go retweet that, and I actually sent out both, so there's an opportunity to join if people want to actually come on board and talk about this or watch it.
Okay. So I'm going to say, hang on, are you watching the Hangout? Because I don't want him thinking I'm ignoring him, but it's hard to talk and type at the same time. I can do it.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. So I'm going to send that out there. So we're waiting. I don't know if John is or is not out there, and he's saying hello to everyone. And we've got Marissa and Siobhan, and I hope I said that right, and New York City Style Cannoli out there. We got lots of people out there. And so, the main thing to think about is first have a goal, and you have to have something to sell, and then you have to measure and you have to test. And if you don't want to do those things, don't spend money, because you're going to lose money, so just don't do it.
That's a good point. Now, what about Twitter? Have you ever tried that one?
I haven't. I see a lot of them, though. I have a feeling that when you click on the Discover button, that thing that says pound Discover at the top, I suspect that a lot of those people are paying to promote those posts. Because I see the reason I think that is I see the same people in there all the time. So I have Business Insider, I have New York Times, I have a photographer, I have Growth Hackers, I have Inc., right? Gene Marks, who writes for Forbes and New York Times.
So you're thinking that when you pay, you end up in that list on the Discover.
I'm suspicious that you do. And the reason I think that is there's a guy called Jerry at Epri City, who I have never interacted with. It says Epri City 2. I did favorite a couple things he shared, apparently. But, I don't know him. We don't interact. But I see a ton of his stuff in that. And since I'm not actively interacting with it because he never puts images in his stuff, if you put images in, by the way, I'll interact with you. But if you don't put in images, I'm not as likely to retweet it. I might once in a while. But if you put an image in, almost probably half the images I see, I retweet. And so I think that people who are paying for ads, there's several ways. There's one way where you get promoted so people will follow you. And there's this other thing, I think, honestly, is what you see when you click on Discover. Now, I have tried, what a funny deer picture. I have tried to confirm that, but nobody that I've asked will answer that question.
That's interesting, because I've used Twitter a little bit, but it ends up being, hey, follow me, and it's like, okay, is this an effective use? I'm not really getting the ROI that I'm looking for, because it's easier to get people to follow if you engage with them. Imagine that, you know?
Yeah, let me put it this way. What we have to be aware of is that all the studies that we ever see are based on what works for big brands. And what works for Coca-Cola or Hershey is not necessarily going to work for us, right? So if Hershey runs a sale and everybody knows who Hershey is and everybody loves chocolate, they are going to get ROI when they buy ads, right? They run some kind of special, same thing with Coca-Cola or whomever. But if you're a small business or you're a blogger and people don't know you and you spend money for ads and they've never heard of you, what are the odds they're going to click on that ad? I mean, they're just not very good. And you have to be, something else we should mention is if you have an ad, you need a landing page. When they click on the ad, it should go. Now, I have been told by Facebook ad experts that it's cheaper to run your ads on Facebook to a page on Facebook. And then that page can send them to your site. If you run your ads on Facebook to your site, they charge you more, but your ROI might be slightly higher because the more clicks people have to do, the more fallout you lose. Like, people click once, and if they don't get wowed, then they leave. And so you would test both ways, whether you want to send them to the landing page on your site or the landing page at Facebook. But you don't just send them to your profile. You don't just send them to your homepage. You send them to a page specifically made for that ad. And that is true no matter what kind of ads you're running.
Even a landing page on your Facebook page where you have an app or tab or something, yeah.
Yeah, something to know. If you're going to do Facebook, definitely look at something called Agorapulse. Facebook to me is very complicated, and it's best if you have help. But there's a company called Agorapulse. It's agorapulse.com that makes it easier to run things on Facebook, and their analytics and the way that they do it is easier than doing it native on Facebook. And so if you're
just the company that you mentioned earlier that only does Facebook?
No, actually, those are the first guy I mentioned. That's an agency. It's called Blitz Local. They mostly do big brands, expensive advertising agency. Another agency that does a lot of Facebook ads. He has a lot of hotel and motel type clients, and that's Marty Weintraub over at aimclear.com, has a really great blog. But the company that I'm talking about, agorapulse.com, is a solution that allows you to manage your campaigns on Facebook.
Ah, okay.
And so it's not real expensive. If you're going to run ads, you definitely want to look at it. I've had Facebook people look at it, and they tell me that's the easiest one they've seen. There are a couple others that do what they do, but theirs is considered simpler.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense.
So, yeah, so it's worth looking at if you're thinking about doing Facebook ads. You know, the main thing is that you have to understand, don't run ads if you don't know what you're doing. I'm not saying don't jump in. I'm just saying have a goal, know what you're selling, make it very clear so that when they click on that face, which may not be relevant to what you're doing, but when they click on the face and go to your page, make the page be very obvious what it is they're there for.
Definitely so have a campaign.
Yeah, so they either convert or they won't, but at least they know why they're there. If you just dump them onto a site and they have no idea why they're there, they're going to leave and you're throwing your money away.
Exactly.
And that's true for pay-per-click, it's true for Facebook ads or Twitter ads. Doesn't matter what kind of ads, anything that you run, you have to have a specific landing page for.
Definitely. You know, earlier you were talking about having a picture of a person, and that's so true. I was just doing a review. I was actually writing an article on Examiner, not about Examiner, but an article on Examiner about another website, and I think they had, see, this is really sad because I don't remember what they were selling, but I do remember that their site was like one of the best sites I'd seen as far as e-commerce. And part of it was because they actually had pictures of people, like they had a delivery guy, that a guy with like a forklift, and that's what I pointed out is that they look so friendly, even if it was stock image or an actor. I don't care if that was really somebody that worked at their site, but it made me feel all warm and fuzzy. So, wow, this is a real person. This person is smiling. This person looks happy. This must be a great place to shop.
Yeah, so that's a mistake a lot of e-commerce sites make. I will tell you that if on your About page it talks about the real people that are there and there's a picture of your business, conversions will go up. when I used to do pay-per-click for small business, for e-commerce, a lot of them, the first thing I did was have them optimize their about page and put photos on it, so that people that are suspicious look at your e-commerce site and go, is this a real business, or is this some outfit looking to take my money? Hello, Da Vinci.
Hi.
And so you put a picture of the building, a picture of the people working inside the building, pictures of the people in general. That will increase your conversions on your site. The number, if you see, like if you look in your analytics and you see that someone went to your about page, when people go to the about page first, conversions go up. If they go to checkout first, they're more likely to abandon the cart.
Really? That's interesting to watch that.
Yeah, because then they know, they feel like they kind of know you. Oh, yeah, that's a guy, and he lives in Nanuet, New York, and he has a real business, and there's some people working in the business, right? And so it's not just like a e-commerce site full of products with no humans involved.
Wouldn't that be dependent on the kind of product and maybe the specification of the actual ad?
Right. Well, the ads, what we were talking about just now before when you popped in was about the about page on your site, that you want to look like a real business and have photographs on it. In the ads, I have been told by people that only do Facebook ads, seriously, that every Facebook ad should have a human's face on it.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense.
And that is what works. And like I was telling Deb, if you can use a human's face, the people you're targeting will recognize. That will really work. Your landing page, when you have a landing page, they actually do convert better when there's pictures of humans on them. And as we were talking about earlier before you came, when the human in the picture is looking at the important part on the page. So whatever you want them to do, you want your photograph to be looking at the thing you want them to do.
Okay, maybe even point to it?
Yeah, they can point to it or where the eyes go. What people tend to do is they look at the photograph's eyes and then track to where the eyes are looking.
Well, you see, like, my picture at the bottom would be great for an ad telling you that Gail is speaking right now.
So that's the thing about ads anywhere. I mean, the main thing is test, check conversions, stop running ads that don't make money. That's the number one tip I have for everyone is don't spend money that doesn't work.
That's a good point.
Yeah, I agree with you, Gail. I think one of the things I was saying in the chat was that if you know where your target audience is social, then spend more of your money there, because at the end of the day, at least you know that's where the bulk of the people that you want to reach are. But you need to understand your demographics before you go into advertising on Facebook or Instagram or Pinterest or Twitter. Know where the kind of people that you want to reach are hanging out. Same thing with know what your product, like if you have a food product, you know that's going to do well on Pinterest, then find a way to get there on Pinterest or Instagram.
Yeah, that's really important. That's why I said you have to know your goal. You also have to know your audience. And you have to be where they are, right? It won't help you. You can run all kinds of ads on some places, but if your people aren't there, then they won't see it. And it's really weird. I was talking to Michael Blumenthal today, who's like the guy for local, for how to rank on like local listings, like on Google, which changed their name again. So now what is it? My Google Places, My Google Plus. I don't know what they changed the name to again, but he said something really interesting. He said that Yelp is huge on the East Coast, the West Coast, and the the Southern Coast, like I guess like Houston, and in Minnesota, but not anywhere else.
Really? That's interesting.
And I thought that was so interesting. He said, yeah, apparently it's really big. It's as big as Google on the East and West Coast, especially the West Coast.
Yeah, that's what I've seen. And businesses over here on the East Coast, they really do a lot of targeting with Yelp because of that.
Yeah. On the coasts, apparently, Yelp is big, but Yelp is problematic for taking down the real reviews and putting up reviews that aren't real. So that's kind of a challenge. There's really, like I said, advertising. Social advertising is very new. And
new in the spectrum of all advertising, like if you're going to go back, in 1920s, and that's what you mean by new?
well, I mean, even like how long have you been able to advertise on Twitter? Now, there were places like Twitter Counter that you could promote yourself to get more followers, but yeah, relatively new as opposed to, newspaper
AdWords.
advertising, classifieds, Craigslist, pay-per-click. Pay-per-click was really hot starting around 2003.
I remember using what was it, Overture or GoTo, or like I'm going.
Yeah, Overture was great. 2003, 2004, there was Overture, then it got bought by Yahoo, and it worked great until they tried to imitate AdWords and scrambled it, and it was never the same after that.
Oh, I loved it before that. I used it.
Yeah.
It seems like it was around when it was GoTo back in 1999. I got most of my clients by using GoTo.
Right. It was GoTo, right, originally. And Mary O'Brien was with them, and then they turned into Overture, and she was still there, and then Yahoo bought them, and she left, but then they hired her to do the training. And yeah, that's all old pay-per-click. Pay-per-click's been around a long time. So while we're talking about social advertising,
I think just going to the point that you made earlier about how new social advertising it is it's so new that even the companies that are offering it still don't know how they want to offer it. And I think that's where some of the problem comes in, because same thing with Facebook changing everything all the time. It's because they're still trying to figure out the best way for them to make their money and actually run their advertising system. The same with Twitter. They're still changing things and trying to tweak it. And, Instagram is now trying to figure out how to get their ads working, and the same thing with Pinterest. So it's so new that they haven't really figured out the best way to implement all of their advertising features yet.
That makes sense, Angie.
Yeah. There's another great tip that everyone should be aware of. When something new happens, get in fast, make lots of money, because it won't stay. Right? Like Pinterest was new, and small blogs made a lot of money, and then they changed how they were handling the affiliate links. And so we have to be aware that when something first goes out, they will make it more beneficial to you to get more people on board. As it gets more mainstream and they have plenty of clients, they will start taking away the benefits and driving up the price.
Yeah, I think
AdWords, it was beautiful for 2 years, and then it was like...
yeah, beautiful, it was the word. But I think one of the, just to build on what you're saying, I think in general, people who are in social media and social jobs as a whole, social businesses, need to understand that at the end of the day, social changes daily. It's something that you have to learn how to adapt how things are working, because it's going to change constantly.
Yeah, that's absolutely true, and it's a big headache, and that's why I don't like certain platforms. But like I said, if you're going to do it, as soon as it comes out, get serious, go in there, figure it out, make some good money, because whatever it costs today, it will cost more and be harder to make money at as time goes on. And so pick what you're going to do, learn it, get good at it, make money while the sun shines, because believe me, every platform becomes more expensive over time.
And that's true of not just social advertising. That can be true of anything, as far as if you think, hey, this is a good deal and I can at least get a return on my investment, get in early.
Yeah, early adopters get the most benefits on anything that you need to do, from pay-per-click to social ads to new platforms. Early adopters are the ones that, like, if Google announces a new way to target ads at the beginning, it'll pay better, and because they want to get people on board. Then when people realize they're making money, they start chattering about it, then it'll make less. And so definitely jump in and make your money early if you can.
Yeah, that's why I'm always looking for the newest form of advertising from the smaller companies, because like you said, once they jump off, then it becomes, not only does it become oversaturated with everybody using the same format, but like you said, the pricing goes up. So you want to get in there, always do your research.
Right, and bids. AdWords actually, a lot of people probably still don't know this, AdWords admitted that they artificially inflate the bottom of the prices.
Oh wow! Surprise, surprise!
Yeah,
Look at that
remember
go.
when it was really great, I bought most of my ad clicks for 5 to 10 cents a piece.
Mm-hmm.
And then, 25 cents eventually, and then it was 50 cents. When Overture was big, the average bid there, this used to crack me up, you could visibly see the bids. There'd be 20 people all bidding 50 cents, and I'd go, 51. And
I remember doing that.
Yeah, it was so silly. I'm thinking, I wonder if they ever look and see that there's 20 people bidding 50 cents, and if they bid 51 cents, they would be ahead of 20 people. What's wrong with them?
That's totally how I got all the clients through. I mean, that was just the best time then because I had a low profit margin because I was really running a low price on domain registration and also hosting. That's how I did it. Exactly. You watch what other people are doing and you go up 1 penny.
Yeah, you could do that on Overture because you had visible bids. What you can do on any platform is another good tip. Don't bid even amounts. Everyone bids 25, 50, 75, $1. $1, $2, $3, $5, whatever your range is. 50 cents, 40 cents, 30 cents. Don't do that. Bid 41 or 42 or 43. 3 cents isn't going to make that much difference, and it's going to put you ahead of all the people that bid 40.
Yep. I do that on eBay. That works on eBay too.
Yeah, it works on eBay too. Bid on uneven amounts. Don't bid like everyone else, and you'll do better.
Yep. Hey, Da Vinci, have you tried Twitter advertising?
Yeah, I have actually. I've done Twitter advertising for Your Life After 25, and I did a little bit of Twitter advertising just to kind of test it for the Pocket Sous Chef, and the site's not up yet, so I was pretty much just kind of testing the platform as far as promoting posts and seeing how that was going to work there.
I'm curious how that does work. Since you're in that pre-phase, getting ready for that product launch, that might be useful information for people that are at the same spot.
Well, yeah, it's so weird because you have to. I've been doing a lot of pre-launch promotion without a website, and I know a lot of times people think, well, oh, you have a website, you need to wait till you have a website before you drum up buzz, but really before you have your site, you can start that pre-promotion and get people involved in your social networks, because when people go to your site and if they go to your social networks, if they see you with one fan, they're going to be less inclined to like it or to think that to notice that you have a fan base. But if they see that you've already cultivated an audience, then they'll be more inclined to pay attention to your product or your information or your site in general. So I went ahead and did a pre-promotion. I actually did some Facebook promotion for the Pocket Sous Chef fan page. And I used food pictures, and I did use pictures of myself. And actually, going with what what Gail said, my cover photo had the highest amount of interaction.
I love your cover photo. It's like I feel like I'm in your kitchen and I'm like, okay, where's the food? Where's the food?
Thank you. Yeah, it has my cover photo. For those of you who haven't seen it yet, go to @PocketSousChef on Twitter or Facebook. You'll see it. It's there, and it has a picture of strawberry cheesecake, has a picture of me, and it also has a picture of lamb chops. So with the picture of me and the food, as Gail was saying, I think people were able to really connect with it, and they definitely got the point of what the Pocket Sous Chef was about. So the likes campaign did really well. We averaged well under $1, probably about 25 cents per like.
That's excellent. But you're also building the brand of you, of Da Vinci. It's not just your cookbook. You're building both at the same time. And then when you do that day of the launch, I would think it's like, if someone comes to your Facebook page, for example, and they see all these fans, like, whoa, what am I missing? What am I missing? There's people here before me and wanting to catch up.
Right. I think one of the things that when you talk about like co-branding, I was actually just having this discussion with somebody the other day. I made sure if you have other things that that people might be interested in, what I have done, I went to all of the Your Life After 25 social pages, made sure to edit all of the profiles to cross-promote at Pocket Sous Chef, made sure to cross-promote Your Life After 25 on the Pocket Sous Chef page also, so people could see the credibility in both things that I do. So even if they're like, okay, well, who's this Da Vinci writing a book, they could see that I had this other fan base with Your Life After 25, and this is just my first book. So I've noticed a lot of people have been liking Your Life After 25 and then liking the Pocket Sous Chef and vice versa.
And since we're talking about social advertising, how would you break, if you had to break that into like pie pieces, if you will, the engagement versus the social advertising? Is that like an 80-20?
Oh, yeah, you definitely have to engage, especially when you talk about advertising your social pages, because people want to see, okay, so if I like your page or if I'm going to follow this person, what are you going to be talking about? So your engagement and building that relationship is really where you're going to get your long-term investment from. So you need to engage with those people. After you've brought them in, what are you going to do to keep them?
Right, good point.
We're going to share pictures of dessert.
Oh, yeah.
Then we're all going to be hungry for dessert all the time.
Oh, yeah, I want everybody to salivate. And, you know, actually, I hadn't, well, Devers had a chance to see them, but I also have a line of aprons that I'm bringing out and sassy wine glasses. So those are going to be fun. So
I like those.
Matching pot holders.
I'm sorry?
Aprons with matching pot holders.
Yes.
Really cute.
Yeah, aprons with aprons with matching oven mitts. How did you know?
Because you have to have them together. Everyone knows that. They cook.
Exactly. And yes, the wine glasses are so fantastic. I love them. They come in pink and black. And one of the things that we're looking to do is when we launch, I'm going to do a social promotion to social awareness promotion, actually, because we're going to do 10% of all proceeds for the pink glasses are going to go to breast cancer awareness. So.
What about the other glasses? Did you say you have pink and black?
Yeah, I have black glasses, but since they're pink, you know, and breast cancer awareness month is October, and the launch is from September 17th, I wanted to just do something for that month. I was actually thinking that other months I might do different awareness campaigns, but keep it fresh.
Gotcha.
Yeah, keep it fresh. Yeah.
So you're not doing the black, but that keeps all of us kind of watching to say, okay, what's the black one going to be as far as a charity?
Yeah, just keep the black simple for now, and you know, maybe down the road, I'm thinking, because I'm really big on suicide prevention awareness, I want to do a yellow glass at some point and just figure out how I want to do that campaign and just raise awareness for suicide prevention, because I've lost a few people that have been close to me to that, and it's one of my platforms. So I think, you know, when you have the opportunity to do something socially good and use your influence, I think that's a good thing to do.
That's excellent. Speaking of, you need to tweet out your video with the ice bucket.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, that one. Everybody's been laughing at me. You guys are no good.
It's good. It's good, guys. You gotta look up Da Vinci with her ALS. I can talk. Yes.
You'll have to look.
Did you see it, Gail?
No, I haven't seen it. I'll have to go find that link and look at it.
It's on my. It was pinned to. Let me see if I still have it pinned. It was what was pinned to my. Yeah, it's pinned on my the blog workshop one, Twitter.
On Twitter.
Yeah, so you guys can see it. My ALS Ice Bucket Challenge. Everybody thinks it's so funny that I was so cold. So
it's very, very real.
I'm really, you know me, I'm down for a good cause, and I just so happened that I took out my extensions, but I would have done it either way. I mean, you know, the ALS, if anything, the ALS Ice Bucket Challenge has shown how much we can use social media for good and how powerful social media actually is. So,
that's a good point. Good point. Any stats on that?
Huh?
Any stats on that and the whole ice bucket thing?
Well, from what I read, and I believe these statistics are right, they had raised $47 million last year alone for ALS, and then from this challenge, the last time I saw the stats, it was over $60 million just from the challenge.
Wait, last year was 47?
Yeah.
No, the last thing I heard was that they're running triple what they normally get.
Right, yeah, and that's, I mean, when you think about that, that's a staggering amount of success. Like, so, you know, when people say social media is not powerful, this is an example of how powerful it really is.
That's a good point.
And something people need to remember, whether you're going to run ads or not, you take some of your time. Don't be so busy working that you're not building relationships, because when you want to launch a book or a new site or a new Facebook page or whatever it is that you're working on, the more relationships you have, we have like groups, like we have the Skype Blogger Mastermind group. Kelly and Crystal have the Learn to Blog Hangouts, and the Learn to Blog Hangouts has a Facebook page with like 1,000 members in it. So if you spend some of your time being sociable with like-minded people, when you go to launch something, you can ask them to give you a boost. Like, it's common for us to say, hey, we put up a new Facebook page for a client, what can I get some likes? To get to, like, it used to have 25 likes in order to name the page to get a reasonable URL. And so it was common for us to say, hey, can you like my client's page? Or I'm publishing a book. Can you promote my book? Can you read it and go review it? Can you do something to help me? When other people are going to need your help, they're likely to get behind what you're doing.
Yep. Very true.
That's so true, Gail. That goes back into really cultivating your relationships. And I really believe, like you said, don't spend so much time thinking about just the advertising, because if you bring people there and you're still so, everything you do looks ad-like or gimmicky or promotional, then you're not going to keep those people. So you still wasted your money in the long run.
And it's easier than going, you know, like with the MLM and with the Tupperware and Mary Kay. And I did both, and I love the products, so I'm not knocking the products. But there was that, hey, could you do me a favor and let me come to your house and give this presentation? There was always that money attached. Whereas now with social media, sometimes it's a like, sometimes it's a retweet. You can actually give back to other people without necessarily going into your pocketbook.
Right. Something else, it's not really a social ad, but something to remember. If you know a lot of bloggers who have sites that are relevant to whatever it is you're doing, don't be afraid to ask them, like, if they know you, you've talked to each other on Twitter or G+ or Facebook or wherever, if you have something going on, you can say, hey, you know, would you consider letting me write a guest post for your blog? If the blog publishes guest posts, now sometimes people's policy changes, like Kikalani.com used to take them, now they don't, but like, I don't publish a lot of guest posts for a lot of people because it's a lot of work and I have to edit them and find images and all that stuff. But if somebody I know, like I know they're another blogger, I know they're doing something good in the community, I know they're a great small business, and they say, hey, can I do a guest post for you about this? You know, and here's my site so you can see how I write. I'm very likely to say yes. Almost always will help any small business, any blogger, any writer, any musician. If there's some way that I can help them, I'm going to. So rather than getting out your pocketbook, you don't always have to do that. Sometimes you can just, you know, offer to write content on a relevant site.
That's so true. And then to build on that idea, Gail, one of the things I'm actually doing with the Pocket Sous Chef launch is I've reached out to quite a few bloggers, and I'm doing a group giveaway. So I'm going to be doing, I want to say it's going to be at least 100 bloggers right now. So they're going to be posting about this giveaway for the Pocket Sous Chef, and that should be really good promotion. And then I also have an affiliate program that I set up. So that's a way to incentivize anybody who's going to write about it if you can.
Good idea. Now, there's a question that Belinda asked. Let me see if I can. About crowdfunding. Let's see. What do we think about promoting crowdfunding? Yes, I can read. Crowdfunding projects via social advertising.
Is she listening? Because I think that's a great question. From what I've seen, a lot of the really good crowdfunding projects have done a lot of PR, and a lot of social advertising. And there are actual specific sites that you can go to buy advertising for crowdfunding.
You mean beyond just your normal social platforms?
Correct. Yeah, they have actual sites and services that you can buy advertising for your crowdfunding.
So it's like buying a package by people that specialize in advertising the crowdfunding projects.
Correct. Yeah.
Now, there's something people have to understand about crowdfunding, which is the same thing you need to understand about viral marketing. You have to trip the algorithm. So when you're doing it, you need to get a lot of actions really quickly. So as soon as you publish it, you need to plan ahead. You need to get a lot of backers involved. You need to let them know when you're going to publish it. Ask them to immediately go and donate and comment and share, because you get a small window to trip that algorithm and get featured on these big crowdfunding sites. And every minute, more crowdfunding things are coming in to bump you off that page. So you need to have a plan to make that thing go viral, whether that's advertising or calling in favors or having all your friends and family donate $1 or $2 or 10 or 12 or whatever. And the other thing about crowdfunding is you have to do a really great job with your video and with your giveaways. With your, what do they call those, Da Vinci, the things that, premiums? Whatever you get when you donate X amount of dollars.
Perks or rewards, depending on which one.
Yeah, look at the ones that are successful, figure out what they did right, make notes, get your page really nice, have other people look at it before it goes live or as soon as it goes live, because as soon as it goes live, it needs to be active. You need to have, and you can't assume that when it goes live on that site, it's going to take off. Assume that won't happen. Line up a lot of people in advance.
Yeah. One of the things, speaking to what you're talking about, Gail, like I said, a lot of the smaller people who get on crowdfunding, they don't realize how much of a PR campaign goes into doing a good crowdfunding project. Like I've seen, I mean, there are some of the ones that I've seen that have taken off, they've done press release campaigns, so there might be like one when it starts, then 2 days after it starts there's another press release campaign, then like the week after there's another press release campaign, and these are video press releases.
Right. I want to tell people though that press releases are not the best way to do it. The best way to do it is to actually contact someone who will be interested and ask them directly, because there really aren't that many people sitting around reading press releases these days. There's not as many journalists and there's not as much going on. It's better if you say that you want to get coverage on X sites, you go look at that site, you find out who writes about this thing, and you contact them and you say, I really liked what you did with this story. You know, say something about work that they've done to indicate that you actually know what they actually cover, and then say we're launching this and we thought this might be of interest to your readers. Give them a link. Make sure that that link goes to ideally a video and some specific information, bullet points, what they might want to write about, you know, and sign off, you know, friendly like, and either call them and do that or email them and do that to a specific person whose interest that is, because everyone's super busy and they're not paying a lot of attention. You have to actually go out and proactively ask for their attention.
Good point. Belinda asked another good question on whether or not authors should use, like, have a budget item for the social advertising.
Yes.
And I retweeted that to say yes, definitely budget that in.
But the first thing they need is a video trailer.
Good point.
Julie Weishard does video trailers for books, and some other people I know do video trailers. So you want a video trailer, short and sweet, you know, only like 30 seconds is good. And then you can promote that video. You can put it on your LinkedIn profile. You can share it in social media. You can use that in blog posts. Video makes a big difference. So if you have a book trailer, you want a book cover image. You want images that are the sizes bloggers normally use, so that they can just grab the image. If you make it easy for people to write about you, the easier it is, the more likely it will happen. Everyone's super busy, but if they see you've got a page, it's got the image, it's got the video, it's got the details, oh, I could throw, my readers might want to know about that, and I can whip out a post real quick because you've already given me all the creatives.
Good point. Good point. Now, do you recommend? Oh, you know what? I'm going to save that one for our topic on video because all of a sudden, my video brain, it's going off in other directions, other ideas as far as getting promotion. But yes, definitely use video first, and then your budget for your social advertising.
Yeah, I would agree. I have my trailer done for the Pocket Sous Chef. I think you would approve, Gail.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
All right, so I have a question for you, Deb, because it's getting close to that time. How many people can come on to our Hangout and actually be here and ask questions live with their logo or their image or their video or whatever?
10.
How many people could show up?
10 people. So 7 more people could join us, and we could chat. Now, it does go down in quality as far as because it's affecting the bandwidth. But, hey, the more the merrier, and if you just understand that sometimes when you talk, people might hear you before they see you or vice versa, we can live with that. Or then again, I'm the only one in this one, I'm the only one that's impacted by that one because you guys have still images, so.
So I'm always doing more than one thing at a time. Sorry, guys. We're
Okay,
making bloggers who want to do paid projects over at the Learn to Blog Hangout page on Facebook. So working on that.
All good. Well, thanks, guys, for joining us in the social advertising, and we'll be continuing our chat on social advertising next week, 9 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, and 6 p.m. on the other coast, and you'll have to help me out as far as time in Italy and random places around the globe. We love you all, no matter where you are. Come join us.
Yeah, next week maybe we'll have more people join the Hangout, and everybody can watch the Hangout. If you don't want to come on live, you can actually watch the video as it's happening, and then see it after the fact on YouTube.
Definitely.
Thank you all for having us and listening to us. And we hope that everything that we talked about today has been helpful and will get you started on your social advertising goals.
Excellent. Thanks all.